Stampin' Up demonstrator from the Scenic Room in Queensland, and I'm here to show you part 3 of my Christmas in July crafting series. So I'm doing a series of classes this week, and I'm celebrating Christmas in July, so it's getting an early kickstart on our Christmas crafting. So the beauty of these classes that I've been doing, so this is number 3. I've done one on Monday. I did one yesterday. I was a little bit late yesterday. I was about an hour late jumping on. Today I'm on. I'm actually early, so that's good. So I've been going live at 5 o'clock each afternoon, showing you some Christmas crafting and showcasing some of our awesome Christmas products. Now, the awesome part about this Christmas in July mini series that I'm doing 5 live videos. I'm showing you lots of different products, but you can actually earn a kit, a mega kit of all of the cards that I'm making this week, one of each. I'll send you the supplies to make one of each card from my live videos this week. So with a qualifying order, so with an order of $100 or more through my online store, you will earn yourself a free mega kit. If you order $150 or more, you will also get a free pack of embellishments along with the free kit. So you will have a minimum of 10 projects that you will be able to create using your free kit if you qualify for an order. Now, the orders have to be placed from Monday, which last Monday, right through until Friday night, the 28th of July, which is this Friday night at midnight. So anyone that places an order of $100 or more through my online store, and you'll see the show in the Show More box down below on YouTube, you'll see the shopping link with the host code. And in the description of this video on Facebook, you will also see the shopping link with the host code. Now, on each video, I'm actually giving you a supply list each time I go live. I'm giving you a supply list of the things that I'm using in that video. So if there's something that you see that I'm using and you think I want to pop that onto my shopping list, then by all means go right ahead and make sure you place your qualifying order to get the free mega kit from this week's Christmas in July crafting series. So hello, I've got Glenda on. Glenda said hello, but I have no other comments. So everyone say hello. Let me know where you're watching from. I love to see how far my videos get, and it's really awesome for you to jump on, say hello. If you're a first-time watcher, please make sure you say hello. Introduce yourself, because I love seeing brand new people. I had a brand new person on Monday that watched me, and she even emailed me on Tuesday wondering whether I was going live because I was running late. So hello. Hey, Lynn, how you going? Janine, Linda, hello, welcome. That's a bit better. I love it when people say, hey, Merlene. I love it when people say hello. Now, I've got to be quick tonight because I've got my team meeting. Belinda, Kay, hello. I've got my team meeting that's happening straight after I've finished my live video tonight. So I have to be quick at what I'm doing. So let's get to crafting. Oh, I just choked on my spit. That's not pretty. So let's get to crafting, and I'm using the brand new online exclusive stamp set that is called So Very Merry. So this is a really awesome new stamp set, and I don't know why you're seeing that side over there. Something must have moved. We're actually using this awesome So Very Merry stamp set. This is one of our online exclusives. So you can't find this in our catalog, but you can find it through my online store. So if you haven't seen it, it's a brand new Christmas set. And I'm going to make a couple of really fun cards today using this set. So the first one I'm going to make is this one here, but I'm going to change it up a little bit. So it's a little bit like lead lighting. So you know how you see lead lighting? It's a little bit like that. So I decided to actually show you how to heat emboss on vellum, because I thought that would be a handy thing for everybody to see how to do it and have some fun into the bargain. Okay, so I'm going to pop that one aside. So I'm going to take the Santa Claus stamp for a start. Now, on that one, I did it in white, and I felt like it got a little bit lost. So I did it in white, and then I colored with blends on the back. So I'll show you how to do that. But this time I'm actually going to stamp it in gold so that we can actually see it a lot better rather than in the white. So I'm just going to take a sheet of vellum. Now, when you're embossing, you really need to use your embossing buddy. So it comes with the Embossing Editions kit. You get a tray, and once again, my Embossing Editions kit is still not out in my craft room. It's still packed from my weekend craft retreat, so I haven't got it out yet. But I've got my embossing buddy. Now that takes static off our vellum cardstock. Now, if you haven't seen vellum, vellum is a very fine, thin. It's cardstock. It's still hefty enough that we can do some heat embossing on it. So, has anyone wondered whether you can heat emboss on vellum? Is it something new that you haven't seen before? So I'm actually going to take both stamps that I'm going to do, because I may as well heat emboss at the same time. So I'm going to use the Santa Claus one, but I'm also going to use that beautiful angel one. So I'm going to stamp two of them here together at once, so that, and heat emboss, so that then that's done. So I'm just going to ink up with my Versamark ink, which is a clear sticky ink that leaves like a watermark, but then you can heat emboss over the top. So I've got room up there. I'm going to do that one down there because I punched that one out a bit larger than this one. So then I'm going to do the Santa Claus one. I'll do that one up there because I punched it with a smaller punch when I did it. So you may not see that in the video, but I'm actually making a sticky stamped image. Oh, you can see it. Yep. So you can see the sticky stamped image. Now, because I don't have my Embossing Editions toolkit, I'm just going to use a scrap piece of paper just to pick up all of the embossing powder that I sprinkle on here. So I don't have a great deal of gold left in this container, so I'm just going to have to sparingly sprinkle it on there, sprinkle it off, and then grab it again. So that embossing powder actually just sticks to that sticky ink. So I'm just going to tip that back onto that so that we can then get that one embossed. So I'm just going to carefully tap it around and get it to cover all of that. Okay, come on, come on. I'm too scared. There we go. Okay, so we've got them both covered with our embossing powder. Now, I probably stamped that Santa Claus. I must have stamped it a little bit hard because I've got it squishing out a little bit, but it will be okay. It will do for tonight's video. All right, so now I'm going to take my heat tool and I'm going to heat that. Now, the one thing with embossing on vellum is you've got to remember that it's a lot thinner than cardstock, so it will happen really quickly. So try not to overheat it on the vellum. So I normally hold underneath, and you'll see once it heats up, there we go. See how quick it is? So normally on cardstock, it would take a while for that heat to transfer through, but on vellum, it's fairly quick. So you just got to be careful not to overheat too much on vellum because it works really, really quickly. So we're going to do the Santa Claus one as well. Hold on to it a little bit better. Let me hold on to it down here. So heating from underneath, personal preference, why I heat from underneath. It doesn't blow the embossing powder around. And as you can see, when you heat, your cardstock curls, and it curls where you're putting the heat on, it makes it curl. And I like it to curl down and under. So that's why I actually heat from underneath. Everyone asks me why I heat from underneath, and that's actually the answer, is because it makes it curl down the other way and it stops the embossing powder from flying around everywhere. Now, I have this punch, but I was supposed to have my other bigger punch. Where did I put that? Did I put it back? Oh, no, there it is there. Okay, so for the Santa Claus one, I'm actually going to use the 2 1/4 inch circle punch. And it fits really nicely in the 2 1/4 inch circle punch, like right really neatly in the 2 1/4 inch circle punch. So, like that. Got a bit of the jitters this afternoon. Now, for this one, I'm actually going to do 2 3/8 of an inch circle punch because I wanted a little bit of a border on the outside of that one. Okay, so we have that. Isn't that just gorgeous? Isn't it pretty? How beautiful is that? Okay, so I'm going to leave those punches there because I'm going to need them in a minute because I'm actually going to punch a I'm going to put a backing on it. So I'm just going to pop that one over to the side because that one's for our second card. So I don't want to play around with that too much just yet. I'm going to get rid of the vellum. Now I'm going to turn that over. I've got some blends here, and I'm going to turn that over, and I'm actually going to color with some blends on the back of the vellum to give that lead light look. So, and it actually, with the vellum, it actually softens the blends so it doesn't look too bad. So I'm actually going to blend with, I've got dark real red, and I'm going to do his hat with dark real red. So all I'm doing is coloring where I can see the lines and making sure that I'm not going over the lines, but making sure that I'm coloring all within the lines to make sure I've got it right. And can you see that? See how you get a really nice, softer look? Okay, so the next thing is I'm going to do his shoulder here with the red. So like that. Okay, so we have the shoulder there. Now I'm actually going to do the bag. I'm going to do with our basic black. So this is the bag here. So I'm going to go over that with the basic black because Santa's sack is normally a big, I don't know whether it's a big black sack. It could be a different colored one, but this one's going to be a black one anyway. So we're just going, making sure that we're getting everywhere where that sack is and coloring it. Now, the thing is on vellum, it will actually show a bit of your brush marks as well, but it's not too bad, okay? So it will brush a little, it will show a little bit. Does it matter if you color on the front? Okay, so Glenda has a great question there. So Glenda said, does it matter if you color on the front? So I'm going to pop that question up there. It actually does matter if you color on the front. So for one reason, if you color on the front, if you get the blends on your embossing, it will color your embossing. Okay, so you got to be if you were going to color on the front, you'd have to be very particular and make sure you definitely go in between the lines. But if you color on the back, it's a little bit more forgiving. And as I said, because our blends are alcohol markers, they're permanent. So if they actually go on the embossing, they will color the embossing. So it will change the embossing. If you colored on the embossing with the black, it would change the gold to black. Okay, so there is a reason why you actually color on the back. Okay, so very good question there, Glenda. All right, so now I'm actually just going to color the window panes, and I've got light daffodil here for this one, and I'm just going to color that one there in light daffodil, and I'm just going to like miss one and color the next one, missed one, color the next one. It might be a little bit different to the one I did today, my sample, but it will be similar. So I've done light daffodil, and then I've got our dark parakeet party, and I'm just going to do the alternate ones with the dark parakeet party. So I didn't want the window, the LED lighting to overpower too much. And it is best if you're doing it on vellum to use that brush tip end because it will give a smoother look to your coloring and cover a lot bigger area. Okay, so as I said, it will show a little bit of your brush strokes on the vellum. It's not very forgiving, the vellum, as far as showing that. Okay, so there we have our colored image. So it looks like LED lighting. Hey, Sue. Thank you for joining. Okay, so it looks like a LED lighting look. Now, what I wanted to do, I mean, it would be lovely just to pop that on the card the way it is, but it sort of got lost on the card when I actually did the rest of the card. So I ended up backing it with a white circle. So I've got some thick basic white, and I'm just going to fold that one in half. And once again, the card base size is 5 3/4 by 8. My card base sizes are always the same. I have a strip of real red that is cut at 2.5 by 5 3/4. Then I've cut a strip of basic white at 5 3/4 by 2 1/4. And I'm actually going to run those through an embossing folder just to give a little bit of texture in behind. So I've got one of our 3D Basics embossing folders. Now, these embossing folders are fantastic to have in your craft room to be able to add texture to the back of to the background of your work. And I just find adding a little bit of texture to your cards just helps give that more quality feel to your card making. All right, so I'm just going to bring in my cut and emboss machine, and I'm going to run that through. Now, this is a thick embossing folder. So because it's a thick embossing folder, all we need is our base plate, our number 1 plate, and our grey embossing plate, so our number 4 plate. And that's all we need to be able to emboss this. Now, whenever you're embossing, you always run your embossing fold going through your embossing machine first. So I've got, as you can see, the number 1 plate there. I've got my embossing folder on there, and then I've got my number 4 dark grey embossing plate. Okay, and then we just run that through. Now, it should feel a little bit firm, but not too firm. If you actually have to force something through, you need to look at what your combination is and make sure that you don't have the wrong combination. Because when you have the wrong combination, you can damage your embossing folders. Okay, so make sure that you definitely have that right combination. So when you've got your thick embossing folders, it's base plate number 1 and the grey embossing plate. When you've got your thin embossing, and you can always feel them, you can feel how thick they are. If you feel an embossing folder and it feels like quite thin, that's a thin one. And with that, you just use your number 1 plate and 2 cutting pads, and that's all. Okay, so embossing is totally different to cutting, and the combination on your cut and emboss is totally different. Okay, so I've got that, and you can see I've got that gorgeous pattern from that beautiful embossing folder. So now I'm actually going to just add that onto that strip of real red cardstock. And you can see that's just added a little bit of texture into the background. So hello and welcome, everybody. It's so good to see you all popping on. This is obviously a good popular time for people in the afternoon. I mean, I know that some people say that they're watching me while they're cooking their dinner. I've actually had my dinner because I've got my team meeting. So I had to get myself organized and make sure that I was ready to go, because I wouldn't be stopping. I was going to go straight from this live video to my team meeting. So, and if you wonder what happens with our team meeting is super, super fun. So I've just added a bit of Seal Plus on the back there because I'm going to use some of this gorgeous gold polka dot ribbon again. And I'm just going to pop that through the center of that strip. Hey, Andrea. Thanks for joining. Hi, Minetta. It is for you because you're in bed. Yes, Minetta gets up and goes to work very, very early. So Minetta is one of my team members as well. And believe it or not, I think I left my scissors out in the kitchen. It's what happens when you spread your crafting out of your craft room, because it has been a super, super busy day for me here in my craft studio. I'm trying to get things organized for my Friday night game night, which is just around the corner. So I was getting kits all organized for that. Okay, so I'm going to cut a basic white circle for behind here, but I'm also going to cut a real red circle as well. So I've got some scrap bits of cardstock here. So this one here I can actually use as a scrap. And, oh, please tell me. Yes, that is a scrap. Okay, so I'm going to use that. So for the Santa Claus, I actually only did the 2 1/4 inch punch. So I'm just going to punch a 2 1/4 inch punch circle out to put a white backing in behind. So once I put the white backing in behind too, it brings more of that coloring to life. Okay, so you can see there, that black looks a little bit average. So I'm going, oh, that's because I've got it the wrong way. My eyesight was not real good. There you go. Okay, that looks a little bit better, doesn't it? I was thinking that black looks really average, and I was thinking my coloring looked really average. So I'm just going to pop that white one in behind, but I'm also going to pop a 2 3/8 inch circle in behind as well. So now how I actually glued that on, because one of the things about gluing with vellum is that you can see you glue. So what I did was I was just being really, really careful. 2:30 a.m. is when Minetta goes to work, everybody. So any wonder she's in bed. So I'm just going to put a fine little bit of glue around that outside edge of the circle. And that's all you need. The liquid glue goes a long, long way. And it adheres really, really well. And because it's hiding in underneath that gold, you're not going to see any of that glue on that circle. Okay? So we have that glued on there like that. And then, of course, I'm going to pop that up onto that real red circle so that we get a bit of dimension happening in it. So I'm just going to add some. So then, see, because we've got that white circle on the back, we can put dimensionals on there and we're not going to see it through the vellum, which is really, really good. So we're able to pop it up, but we still get that lead light look. Hey, Susan. And then we're just going to pop that back on there like that. Okay. So we've got our white layer. So we've got our vellum layer that we've colored and embossed with our blends. And then we've got that white layer underneath to bring the color through. And then we've got the red layer underneath again, just to add a bit of a highlight behind that circle. And do you know, I've stood up again, and do you know what's happened once again? Look at this. You won't believe this, but someone has moved on in again into my seat. Theo, he decides to take charge and jump into my chair once again. So I don't know what I'm going to have to move chairs again. There you go. You can move over there. And I'll move a chair back here so I can sit down again. See, they're very quick to jump exactly where you've been. Well done, Theo. I don't know whether it's well done. He's been doing that a lot lately, but anyway. All right, so for my card front, I wanted to stamp the little leaves out of the stamp set in our when I find the stamp. So this little leaf stamp, and I want to stamp it with some shaded spruce ink. Now, the thing is, I want to know exactly where I'm going to put that. So what I actually decided to do was just use a pencil and just eyeball where I'm going to put it and just draw a couple of faint lines across there like that. Now that gives me the indication of where I need to stamp those little leaves. So I wanted to do the leaves just to add a little bit of interest into the background below that strip, that real red strip that we're putting on there. So I'm just going to grab a sheet of scrap paper and pop that in underneath. And then I'm going to grab my shaded spruce and I'm going to ink that up, and we're going to pop some of those little leaves popping up randomly to add a little bit of interest in behind that layer. So just changing direction with them, and I missed that one, so I'm going to try and re-stamp over. Not real good. This stamp, even on my sample, I did the same thing. You have to be really really vigilant with making sure that you've got it down nice and level. I've found that sometimes you're sort of doing it in a hurry and you tend to rock the stamp a little bit, and you only get 2/3 of the stamp stamped, and you don't want that to happen. So just be careful and be wary of that. So I've got lines of that, and then once I pop that on, see, it just gives that gorgeous little edging. Cute Theo. Yes, he is pretty cute, but sometimes I don't know about his behavior. All right, so we've got that. He's actually loving, I think, being a part of these videos lately. He's been in the craft room with me. One thing is he hasn't been fed once again, so he's waiting for his food. He'll get fed between me jumping off here and jumping on for the team meeting. So for all the team members, if I'm running a little bit late, it means I'm feeding Theo, so he will leave me alone. All right. So we get together once a month with our team, which is really, really fun. And we actually get to craft together. So we catch up on all the latest news. We celebrate everything that people have achieved through the month. And then we actually all get to craft together. So I love my team meetings. It's super awesome getting to hang out. And we do it via Zoom or through our Facebook group. And that's what's the fun part about being a part of our Wild Heart Crafters crafty community. So bring him to our meeting. Well, he'll probably come to the meeting, Glenda. I'm sure he will be there. You'll see him. I'm sure you will. All right. So we will pop that on there like that. Okay. So we've now got that gorgeous decoration in behind that real red layer. And then I'm going to grab, I've got a scrap piece of paper here that I'm going to stamp the sentiment on. So the sentiment is, "'Tis the season to be jolly." And I'm going to stamp that in our real red ink. Grab that. And grab my stamp. Okay, so "'tis the season to be jolly." Now I'm going to stamp it. I'm going to try and stamp it down as low as I can on that scrap, because I want to probably trim it down just a little bit. So "'tis the season to be jolly." I love sayings like that for Christmas. And I mean, this is really traditional colors. I don't normally do traditional colors when it comes to Christmas crafting, but I thought I would keep it pretty traditional this afternoon just for a change, because I know that there's a lot of people love the traditional green and red for Christmas. Okay, so I'm just going to trim that off like that. And then I'm also going to trim it down that way just to get a little bit of that extra cardstock off there. Just to thin it down just a little bit more. That was probably a bit eager there. There we go. Okay, "'tis the season to be jolly." I've got to save that bit because that'll be for the next bit. Okay, so we have that. We have our Santa Claus. Like so. Okay. Now, I'm just looking. I was thinking, why is my Santa Claus facing the other way on that one? But I must have colored on the wrong side. I don't know. Anyway. All right, so he's facing that way. We might do this one this way. No, we might do that like that. So he's looking at that. All right, so then I actually just did a little V with that ribbon. So I'm just going to put some Seal Plus on the back there. And I'm just going to create that little V shape with the ribbon. So all I do is I just do that. So I just have it going both the same way. And then I stick it onto my sentiment label. And then I can actually pop my dimensionals on and get that sorted after let's go that way and maybe that way. Okay, so we've got our cute little V shape there with our ribbon, which is really, really cute. So now I'm going to pop some dimensionals on the back of that. Now, because it's actually going to go and sit near the ribbon, I'm going to pop dimensionals top and bottom of that sentiment strip to try and straddle a little bit on that ribbon, so that I can try and get that it's adhering to the cardstock more than on the ribbon. Because if it's on the ribbon, it may want to sit up and sit a little bit bulky. So I've probably OD'd on the dimensionals there, but it will be okay. And Deborah's on here. So Naomi is our stamper of the month this month. So we're actually doing cards tonight at our team meeting from Naomi. So Naomi has designed the cards for us. So we've got that there. So because I've actually done the dimensionals all over the place, it will then adhere to that cardstock more than the ribbon, because sometimes if it's on the ribbon, it'll tend to bobble around a little bit. We don't want that to happen. So then we're going to pop our Santa Claus up. Laura, oh really? Your Jack Russell Terrier is called Theo. Okay, so we're then going to pop that on there like that. All right. So then I just, I grabbed some of those gorgeous sparkle gems that we had from yesterday's video, and I decided to do the black ones on this. As you can see, these gems are going with most things, which is really, really good. It's nice to have things that are versatile that you can use on more than one project. And I've lost my take your pick tool. Oh, there it is. Okay. So I'm just going to use some of the black ones. So I'm going to use one up there. I'm going to use a smaller one down here and another one down there. And there you have a really gorgeous card using the So Very Merry stamp set. So, so that's a typical traditional Christmas one. And then I thought with the angel, I wanted to do something really elegant with the angel one. So I decided to do this. Are you ready for this one? Isn't it gorgeous? Absolutely stunning. All right, so let's move on in and we'll do that. So we've actually already done our embossed angel. Just going to move some of this out of the way. So we've already done the embossed angel. Let's bring in our pieces that we need. So we have, once again, we have a basic white card base. So cut it 5 3/4 by 8 inches, and we're going to fold that in half. And I've got dirty fingers, and my white cardstock is getting dirty. I really need to. I'll try this. Bit of hand sanitizer on the hands. My hands are like not very clean. I've been very busy in the craft studio today, so I've got ink from one end of the place to the other. I've been going all day. I've been getting kits all organized for our craft bingo. Okay, so we have a piece of crumb cake that I'm going to use. Now, I need to actually check the measurements on this because I cut them down. I think it's 5 1/4. 5 1/4, yes, by 3 1/2. So then this piece is 5 1/8 by 3 3/8. Okay, so 5 1/4 by 3 1/2, and then we went to 5 1/8 by 3 3/8. Okay, now I'm going to emboss that with this embossing folder. Now, this is what I mean about what happens with an embossing folder when you force it through an embossing machine. When it's got too many layers in the embossing machine, you end up with an embossing folder that looks like a duck's bill, and you end up, as you can see, cracking that embossing folder at the top. So whenever you're trying to emboss, and if you're trying to push it through and it's going and it's taking a lot of effort to get it to go through, please stop, because that will actually damage your embossing folders. So when you go to do it, because it's a thick embossing folder, you have to have that special plate. Now I can still use the embossing folder, so even though that has happened, it still can be used, and I'm trying to probably train it a little bit and flip it over and let it smooth out a bit the opposite way. So I'm actually going to tip it upside down and put it through there and see if that makes any difference. Once they've curled up, they've curled up. There's not much you can do about it. But I'm making sure that I'm putting the fold going through first and run that through. And the other key too is that you don't go backwards again. So you don't go back through the embossing folder, because it does actually crack your embossing folders on that top. Okay. All right, so we've got that embossed. So that was with the exposed brick embossing folder. So then we're going to line that up onto the crumb cake layer. So I'm just going to grab some glue and pop some glue on the back, and we'll adhere that to that crumb cake layer. And the crumb cake sort of takes a little bit like a gold look. If you don't have the gold foil and you want that sort of goldish look, you'll find that crumb cake is a good alternative. All right, so then I've actually got a strip that came off this when I was cutting it. So I've got a strip. Now it is, I will have to measure that as well. It's 1 inch. Okay, so I've got a 1 inch strip, and I'm going to actually just glue that 1 inch strip, down that side there of my front layer. So just with some liquid Tombow again, pop some liquid Tombow on. When you're adhering onto embossed layers, it's always good to put a little bit extra glue to what you would normally do, because that will then get down into the crevices and the grooves and actually, yeah. Okay, so Felicity is saying, what do you mean about bring back the little trimmer? She's talking about this little baby trimmer, this little one here, the little guillotine. So that's what she was saying. I wish they'd bring back the little baby trimmer. We all keep sandboxing it. We all keep saying we want it. So the more that we say we want it, you never know. It did come back at one stage and we were able to buy it. So you never know. It may come back and be available again. So now I'm going to put some Seal Plus on the back of that layer. And I'm going to wrap some of this new beautiful trim. Now it comes in silver and gold. So it comes in like a duo pack. So you can see here we've got the silver and the gold trim. So this is really, really pretty for your Christmas crafting. So okay, so we're going to wrap that around our layers. So we're just going to pop it in the middle of that strip and wrap it around that layer and stick it into that Seal Plus that's on the back. Okay, so we have that. Then, of course, we're going to pop that up onto some dimensionals, and we'll pop that onto the front of the card. Leslie said she got her little trimmer when she joined as a demonstrator 3 years ago. Yes, it was a joining special. And then they did actually bring it back as a supply item that we were able to buy. But then we haven't seen it for a few years. So we've all got our baby trimmers, but we haven't seen it available to purchase for a few years. But you never know. You never know what you could wish for. Okay, so we've got the backings off all of that. And then we're going to adhere that to the front of our card base. So once again, it's thick white card base. So we're going to do that. And because I've cut it down, it's got a bigger border. So I just find sometimes to do a card like that, it just showcases the feature of it a little bit more and shows a little bit more of that card base in behind. All right, so then with this, we're going to take another bit of that scrap white that we had, which is here. Let me see if I've got enough room in this one. So I'm just going to do, now this was 2 3/8. I'll see if I've got enough room in this one. If I haven't, I'll have to, I do, just. So 2 3/8 because I cut that one a bit bigger. So I'm just going to do that and pop it on exactly like we did with the other one. Now make sure I've got it right. Yes, it's going that way. I should be able to tell with the embossing because the embossing's raised, but I don't know why, but I definitely put that Santa Claus on. Maybe it would have looked better. No, I colored it on the other side, but anyway, that's what happens when you're trying to do 10 jobs at once like I was doing today. So I had to try and design these cards today, and I'm still in the process of designing my stamps club for the month. Just had a motorbike go down the road, which sounded a bit strange. Okay. And I went for a walk this morning, so I decided to have a bit of a health kick this morning. And I decided it's about time that I actually started back with my walking. I hurt my back really bad, and And when I came home from overseas, my knee was really bad. So I haven't done a lot of walking for a fair while. So I decided that this morning was the morning I was going to get up and I was going to go walking. And I did. I had a lovely half-hour walk. And they're actually doing a bit on the subdivision near my place. So I actually was quite interested to see what they were doing on the subdivision. So it was quite nice to go and have a look and have a bit of a squiz to see what was happening. All right, so I'm now going to do 'Tis the Season to Be Jolly. And I'm going to use a bit of scrap paper because when you've used red with your ink, sometimes it comes off on the other ink. Sometimes it stains your stamps, but it gives you a bit of a funky color, and it did give me a funky color on the front of that. So I'm going to wait and make sure, and that's good. So let's ink that up, and we're going to stamp down once again, right down close to that edge, and we'll trim it with that handy little trimmer that we can't get. You thought it was my tummy rumbling, Glenda? No. I told you I've eaten. I just haven't fed Theo. I've eaten because I knew I might not get a chance to eat, but I knew I would be able to get a chance to just duck out and give him some food. So, yeah, I'd be in trouble if that was my stomach rumbling, wouldn't I? It was pretty loud. I was wondering what in the world it was. I'm sure Theo was wondering what it was too. Okay, so I'm going to trim that down as much as I possibly can. And I didn't actually leave it enough to get it like that this time, but it's okay. We'll just go with the square look. But as you can see, this is coming together really nicely. So we're just going to add some dimensionals on the back of our sentiment. You couldn't eat before your dogs are fed? Yeah, Theo's pretty patient. He's not too bad. So I'm just going to pop that on there like that. Popped up. Then I'm going to pop some dimensionals on the back of my beautiful angel. Have I been calling it an angel or a fairy? Please tell me I was calling it an angel. Okay, Donna's saying what's happening with the magnetic plate. No, nothing on the home front about the magnetic plate. Don't even know whether we're ever going to have one. Would love to have one. I can tell you if they can design one that's going to work that we can use. I think they need to design one like the Sizzix one, that it's the full bottom platform. I think that's the only way it's going to be a successful thing to do. So, so we've now got our beautiful angel there on our card. Okay, so then I'm just going to grab that gorgeous gold twine and we're going to tie a little bow. No, it's a Santa on the other one. On the other card, Lynn, it's a Santa Claus on there. Yes. I had a few of them, but sadly, I have used them and used them and used them. And I did try to glue one back together unsuccessfully. So I was hoping to God that I could maybe fix it, glue it together and fix it. And I had about 3 of them actually. I bought a few of them. And yeah, sadly I've used them all, so they all ended up going. And I miss a magnetic plate. I absolutely love having a magnetic plate. All right, so we've got that. We're just going to add a little bit of glue for that to adhere into. And I always like to use a little bit of Seal Plus. Just pop a bit of Seal Plus and pop it in. You can actually use a glue dot. I just prefer Seal Plus. I feel like it holds a lot better than a glue dot. And then, of course, we're going to take those gorgeous gems again and my take your pick tool, and we're going to use the gold ones to create some lovely embellishments there. There, and one just down there, and another one up there. So as you can see, I've used these 3 days in a row, and I've still got quite a lot left. And I think I actually used them last week or something as well. So, and there you have your second card using the gorgeous So Very Merry. So once again, I think I definitely like the gold Santa Claus rather than the white one. I think that the gold looked a lot better than what the white does. It's a bit more defined, and I have no idea how come I got the Santa Claus going the other way. So well, I do have an idea because I've actually colored on the wrong side. Either that or I've colored on the wrong side. But anyway, you weren't sure about the set, but now you'll have to get it. Yeah, well, I'm so sorry, Kay. The angel is gorgeous, isn't it? Yes, absolutely. And I just think a beautiful, stunning card like that is. I love just having elegant cards. I think it's really, really beautiful to be able to have some elegant cards like that. So if you loved what I did tonight, please give me the thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on that bell notification to get notified every time I go live. I will be back live again tomorrow, but it will actually be earlier tomorrow. So it won't be 5 o'clock tomorrow. So there's Theo. Sorry, there. There. There's Theo. He's yeah, he's over there. Yeah, it would be good in silver as well. Yes, Glenda. I think gorgeous, stunning cards like that, the silver and the gold are absolutely stunning. Like I just think for a beautiful, simple, elegant card, you can't beat the white and gold or the white and silver. Absolutely stunning. And even on dark cardstock too. So I remember one of my favorite combinations was it was called Elegant Eggplant we used to have, and it was a deep, deep purple, very much like Blackberry Bliss, but I still think Elegant Eggplant was nicer. And I used to do that with gold and silver as well, and it was gorgeous. And Cherry Cobbler and Night of Navy with gold and silver look awesome as well. So thank you very much for hanging out with me and crafting with me again tonight. So make sure you tune in again for episode number 4 tomorrow. I can't believe that we've done 3 already. So episode number 4 tomorrow, and I probably will be jumping on maybe around 4 p.m. tomorrow afternoon. So all things going well, because I have to go back down to Lismore on Friday because my daughter's going in to have her wisdom teeth taken out. So she's going into hospital and getting the 4 of the wisdom teeth taken out. So I have to go to the hospital and pick her up and bring her back home here to recuperate for a few days. So I not quite sure what time Friday I will jump on. If I don't jump on Friday, I'll jump on Saturday for sure. So thank you very much. And I hope you're enjoying my Christmas in July series. And once again, if you place an order for $100 or more between now and Friday night at midnight on the 28th of July, 2023, you will earn a mega kit. You will earn a kit with supplies to make all of the projects that I'm making this week. So you will get 10 projects to make for free sent out to you if you do an order of $100 or more. If you do an order of $150 or more, you will also get a free embellishment thrown in as well. Okay, so thank you very much, and I hope you enjoyed it. And now I've got to go to my team meeting. So I will see you all again soon. Until next time, happy crafting.